Statesman Trump has learned value of global peace, says Anthony SCARAMUCCI Express comment Commen. We use cookies to help our site work, to understand how it is used, and to tailor the adverts presented on our site. By clicking accept, Trump has in the past labeled himself a nationalist in order to rile the media, but this Eurotrip provided further evidence that he actually has a deep appreciation for history. If Trump continued, while London Mayor Sadiq Khan said it was un-British to roll out the red carpet for President Trump, the royal family knows better. Eschewing political, despite street protests and a slight from Parliament, Trump was likewise deferential to his hosts, building a strong personal rapport and reaffirming the special relationship. He also abided by the wishes of British political leaders by declining to weigh in on Brexit negotiations, though not quite stopping short of backing a candidate in the race to succeed Prime Minister Theresa May, and having to withdraw his earlier comment about including the National Health Service NHS in trade negotiations. Overall, he was extremely respectful in a somewhat hostile environment. Trump campaigned on an America First agenda, but his ideology is more nuanced than he gets credit for. Pax Americana, the United States allowed for an unbalancing of global trade to help rebuild Europe and create an economic interconnectedness that promotes peace. The approach was successful, but 75 years on, the world has changed and the time has come to rebalance global trade. It's not unreasonable for President Trump to ask our European allies to level the playing field on trade and to pay their fair share to NATO defense spending. But his approach to anybody who has spent time with Trump knows he is more measured and warm in private than his combative public persona would suggest. However, the economics is not a zero-sum game. Trump will always lose cooperation with our allies, will also be required to manage the rise of China, an illiberal authoritarian regime incompatible with Western values. Trump believes he's doing right by the American people over the long term, but the short-term economic conditions for his electoral base are starting to erode and along with them his political support. While the 2016 election demonstrated the fallibility of polls, recent approval numbers in key industrial Midwest swing states must be disturbing for his campaign. A recent Morning Consult poll revealed Trump's net approval ratings in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Iowa are 13, 12 and 12 respectively, down from +6, +7, and +9 following his inauguration. In Ohio and Pennsylvania, strong support at +14 and +10 has turned into net disapproval of 4 and 7. Even Republicans, after Democrat and possible presidential hopeful Beto O'Rourke's strong performance against Senator Ted Cruz in the midterms, Trump's net favorability in the traditional GOP stronghold has fallen from +21 to +3, with a new Quinnipiac poll showing Democrat Joe Biden +4 against Trump in the Lone Star State. Political scientist James Carville famously uttered "It's the economy, stupid" when predicting election results, and President Trump is denting his strongest campaign talking point. The president is still only in his third year as a politician and is still finding his voice in the international community. He loves America. In Normandy, his message to our allies was clear: our cherished alliance was forged in the heat of battle, tested in the trials of war, and proven in the blessings of peace. Our bond is unbreakable. I believe Trump's trip abroad had an impact on the man, and I expect to see a more magnanimous leader over the rest of his presidency. Anthony SCARAMUCCI is the former White House Director of Communications.
Raindrop, drip, drop top, top smoking, no cooking, the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.